Hey everybody, this is Perch, and I've got a mail here talking about the culture war. Now, I said a few weeks ago that we got to back away from this. Too many people were writing in about the quote unquote culture war. It was getting boring. There's just not much to say, and that's kind of the problem with the culture war is that it's the same old warmed over shit over and over and over again. Often getting, increasingly, it's hard to watch the people who are really into it. But the viewer brings up some different points that that'd be worth talking about. And for what it's worth, if you noticed in January, there's a lot less talk about the culture war, a lot less. Now, fortunately, comicsology imploding and a bunch of the questions around that helped fill the gap. And next week we're going to be talking about Valiant a bunch apparently. But let's get into this mail because I think some new points here, and I want to praise new points. So there we go. It says, "Dear Perch. I am a 21-year-old Zoomer who is into comics, game, manga, novels, and other geek stuff since I was 8 years old, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. Is it me, or does this culture war stuff feel very confusing and weird? Was there even a war to begin with? On one hand, you have the comics are dying, comics are shit, comics are woke, manga is great crowd. On the other hand, you have people who are owning the chuds, the cuckservatives. Oh, I haven't heard that one before, the cuckservatives. To me, this all seems like fake and low IQ. Let me explain why. With the first crowd, I feel some of them are insecure and a bit hypocritical, especially those who say manga and anime is just great. I've noticed that some of these people will not rage out about something in manga that they won't forgive in comics. For example, there's an argument that comics are repetitive and lack creativity. Not wrong. But then on the same hand, they will say manga is so creative and bursting with ideas while they ignore the fact that the most popular anime and manga nowadays are shonen clones of the Naruto, Bleach, One Piece archetype. Nothing wrong with following archetype. Or they are isekai. I hate Asiki. Its consequences have been disastrous on the anime industry. That's a video for another time, but you're not wrong. Another point I have against these people is whether they actually read comics or if they just fake geek girl types that are outraged, that like to outrage. For example, the Superman is gay now outrage. Many of the people angry about this missed the point that this wasn't Superman, but Superboy, his son. A change that I myself don't like either, but what can these people be at least accurate? In recent times, there was a Joker's pregnant fiasco that you're aware of. I feel some of these people, if asked on basic comics lore, or in fact, for example, who is the Anti-Monitor, what is the Negative Zone, what are Omega Level mutants, their knowledge would stem from movies at best, and at worst, you would get a response saying, I don't know. And at worst, you'd get a response like, I don't care anymore. That's the ultimate deflection, anyway. There are legitimate things they say, but sometimes it goes so overboard, it's entertaining, so no surprise people do it, and they seem to miss the forest from the trees. With the second crowd, I feel they are just spiteful, ignoring glaring problems in the industry and or overestimate their writing abilities. My question to these people is, what does owning the chuds do in the long run? Who are these chud bros? Seems this spiteful nature just makes things very, very toxic and harms the perception of comics in which they are turned into jokes and mockery. But is that what these people want? The industry to be a joke, tomfoolery, a gag to destroy these people? To me, this is a single-digit IQ play. If your industry is not seen seriously and just as a way to fight the culture wars, and who in their right mind would put money into it? There is no money, then fewer opportunities, less work and pay, worse comics, and eventually you will have a ghost industry, one in which your industry is barely alive and just exists in the background. This is where comics are better than ever crowd just seems to ignore everything going on around them. It's like saying, I don't have a broken leg, and somehow retconning that your leg was never broken, like you're Dr. Manhattan. No amount of copium can save you from the problems that will eventually catch up to you, and for the comics industry, the copium reserves are running low. This guy's on fire here, by the way, this mail. There needs to be an honest and brutal assessment of the industry and questions need to be asked. Why are creators not getting enough pay? Why are we constantly rebooting our comics with muck crisis? Why can't we have consistency and long-form storytelling across our company like we used to? Why are we publishing 20 trillion books a month? Why are there so many goddamn superhero families, etc.? Doing this, I think, puts these people in the proper mind frame and applies pressure on them to actually perform well and take their industry seriously. But why do that when you can have Twitter points or subvert expectations with your horrible writing? Congratulations, I was expecting a good story and I got a shit one instead. Mind blown. In short, we're wrapping up here. This culture war has to be a CIA operation with how it hides legitimate problems with the background of team outrage. Nothing is achieved and nothing is gained, just endless fighting. Preach! Okay, that's 100% correct. There's another. I'm having a separate conversation happening at the same time with a friend, and we're looking at the new villain that is come up. This the Eliza Blue. the girl who was dating Elon Musk and everything. Everybody's all pissed off about it. It's all crazy. And I'm having this conversation with this other guy, and it's like, he sums it up quite well. These are the dumbest motherfuckers on the planet. And agree. Yes. Agreed. So thank you. So some nice commentary. Said better than I have, and I've got 800 billion videos under my belt. Look, I mean, the stupidity is just all over the place. I think, and it's endless. There's this. Thank you very much. A different friend sends to me a collection of tweets from somebody who is a editor, okay, and writer of comic stuff, okay, and is a she, he, they. So why not? And it's in it, and I'll show the tweet. Is a tweet saying they're flirting, and it's a picture of John Byrne, Jean Grey Phoenix, and Storm having a conversation and smiling. But apparently that means they're about to fuck. And this person kind of goes on with talking about how The Watchmen's a comedy. And then this is my favorite. I've never understood the use of the word pale to indicate that a character is shocked or afraid, i.e., she went deathly pale. Maybe it's something that just makes more sense with white people. What the fuck? What the fuck? We're asking for descriptions of what pale means? What the fuck is even going on? And yes, you get back to this is a low IQ battle. It is. I'm sorry. It is fucking a low. It is dumb as shit on all fronts. These are and kind of like I've said in other places. These are not serious people. I'm sorry, they are not. People come into my comments every now and then and see, Perch, you're wrong because the She-Hulk writer said that. Like, Jesus Christ, that's not what they said, and you're making the dumbest ass point possible. You cannot be this stupid. All of it. We've got comic editors asking what the definition of pale is. It doesn't have to do with racism. What? Oh my God! You got. I mean, like, look. You have to just wonder. You have to wonder. I mean, yes, maybe it has to be a CIA op. Absolutely. If there's ever any evidence, people say all the time, and I know it's a cliche at this point. It's like, oh, the world of idiocracy is already here. Fuck yeah, it is. It's worse. If I guarantee you this. Watch Idiocracy if you haven't seen it. It's a movie. Basically, the premise is that guy goes into hibernation. It goes on way too long. Wakes up in the future, and everybody's retarded. Sorry, everybody's mentally challenged. And it's the world has gotten dumber for a variety of reasons. That history favors breeding from stupid people, not smart people, and the gene pool shallows out. But if you watch that show, I swear to God, I was watching that movie like a couple weeks ago, watching bits of it. I'm like, yeah, Twitter's dumber than this. It passed it. It passed it. Idiocracy is now the future I hope we get to. I mean, Christ, look at this. Here's a synopsis for a new book. About this book. See, the car is actually helping out with some sound there. About this book, a non-binary middle schooler saves a dog from bullies. I'm just going to let that sentence sink in for a minute. A non-binary middle schooler saves a dog from bullies and is offered the chance to become the Dog Knight, protector of a magical pact between humans and dogs. In the first book, the first book of this humorous and heartwarming middle grade graphic novel series from Jeremy Whitley, author of Princeless, and Brie Indigo, illustrator of Meg, Joe, Beth, and Amy, a graphic novel. This is a real book. Okay, I just want to. A non-binary middle schooler saves a dog from bullies. Yeah, what? I don't know, man. I don't know anymore. I just don't know. Look, the nice part is every now and then somebody wanders into the comments like, F you, Perch, you fence sitter. That's like, bruh. The It's just not a fence. It's a giant platform of sanity. That's what I'm sitting on. This is terrible. It's terrible. It cannot be abused. So look, yeah, I think that a lot of people who complain about comics aren't reading them. Now, in fairness, some admit that. I think a lot of it is reactions to out of context panels. I still think that's fun. The difference is we went from laughing about out of context jokes to taking them deathly serious, and that sucks. But in turn, the quote unquote other side is also just taking this shit as serious as possible, taking all of everything too serious except the all important serious doing your job well. No, non binary kid saving a dog from bullies. It becomes the dog night. Ah, Christ. Uh, Jeremy Whitley's written comics for Marvel. Well, here we are, folks. Here we are. Uh, um, yeah, I don't know how to wrap this up. Just it this is all a low IQ play. I think the way to okay, so I try and make it positive. The positive thing is this. Thank you for the mail. You're right. I'm glad you're seeing this. I get a lot of mails now from people looking at from this stuff. I see a lot more people who come in to shit on this channel, one direction or the other. Again, it's a classic. If I'm saying something that's vaguely helpful to the comic industry, then suddenly I'm a valued voice of retailers. And if I'm saying something that's vaguely, helpful to the other group, then I'm a CG chud. So I mean, it's like whatever. Based on the time of day, I'm a shill, I'm a fence sitter, I'm a chud, I'm a whatever the fuck it is. But keep in mind, the people saying these things are fucking low IQ morons. Yeah, they are. I'm sorry. You are a dumbass. What was that? What was that quote? Yeah, these are some of the dumbest motherfuckers on the planet. Thanks for listening.